I was diagnosed with ADHD at the age of 15, and for most of my life, I felt like something was crippling me, something that was holding me back from the abundance, from the outcome that everyone around me seems to have. I used to ask myself, how are people able to sit for hours in one place when I can barely do that for 1 hour? Why can't I stay doing one thing for 10, 20 years the way they did? I treated myself like a victim for years. And it wasn't until this past year I got tired of feeling like this is the biggest thing crippling me and my life will not get any better. So I decided to actually study it deeper. And what I learned is the reason I've been able to make over $100,000 in my business just this year alone while working way less hours than I ever had before. So I'm going to break down exactly what I learned and how having ADHD has become my greatest asset. And I'm going to leave you with a few things you can do to implement in your own business to leverage your superpower. And before I get into it, if you are watching this and you know your ADHD has actually benefited you in your business, I want you to drop a comment right now. Tell me, how has it helped you? Let's help other people that feels like this is a negative, that this is a bad thing. Let's help them see that this is actually a good thing. This is your benefit. There are 4 things that ADHD gave me as a business owner that I'm actually grateful for. The ability to hyper focus on one thing I'm actually obsessed with. The ability to see what everyone else misses. Staying calm under pressure when everything around me is chaotic, and being able to adapt faster than almost anyone in the room. Let's go through all 4. The first thing I realized is that I have the ability to focus on something intensely, as long as it's something I'm truly passionate about. For the longest time, I always wondered why I get a spark, get an idea, and for a few days, I'm excited. Then later on, I'm not so interested anymore. A few weeks later, it's not interesting at all, actually. But then there are certain things I've been obsessed with since I was a kid, and I cannot let them go at all. Once I realized that about myself, I stopped trying new things consistently, which is a pull I always feel. I started channeling my energy only into things I've been obsessed with my whole life. My ADHD has caused me to hyperfixate on those things. I'm always wondering, how do I get better at this? How do I learn more? Should I buy more books? I'm going deeper. I want to go deeper into this. And when I started leaning into that, instead of chasing whatever was new, I built a business around it, and I accomplished more than I've ever had. So my question to you is, what is that thing you've been trying to do or you've been thinking about for the longest? The thing you're obsessed with, the thing you can't keep your mind off of, whether it's been for years or you've been thinking about it since you was a kid. Why haven't you built a business around it? Why haven't you built an offer around it? Why aren't you pulling and focusing all your energy on that, creating content around it? Because guess what? It's going to be your biggest superpower because you already hyperfixate on it. You've been doing it for years. The second benefit is the ability to think outside the box. Most people see things for exactly what they are, but we're always looking for something deeper. And yes, sometimes that becomes overthinking in the wrong places, but there are times it becomes your superpower. You start seeing the patterns other people look past. You don't fall into the business traps everyone else stumbles into, not because someone warned you, but because you paid attention long enough to see the red flags yourself. You don't chase whatever is trendy just because it's hype right now. You look at where it's actually headed over the next 10 years, and you make your decisions from there. That's why people tell you you seem wise beyond your years, and you don't even realize that it's a compliment. You didn't seek wise counsel. You just sat with the thing longer than everyone else. You actually planned. You actually strategized. You actually wrote it down. That right there is the exact reason so many businesses blow up fast and fall apart within weeks. They never sat with it long enough to see what you saw. The third benefit is something I personally always noticed about myself, but I never appreciated it until recently. For whatever reason, we seem to be calm under pressure. High stress, chaotic situations, everything's moving fast, and somehow we're not moved by it. I used to see that as a negative. I think maybe I should be taking action in that moment. Maybe I should have done something instead of just sitting here calmly. But I've realized that in business, there's always things happening that you could be stressed about, that could be overwhelming. And if I did not have the ability to stay calm, I would have exploded by now. I would have spoken when I didn't need to speak. Because I can stay calm while everything is moving chaotically around me, I'm still able to think clearly, strategize, and be slow to speak so that I can actually get the outcome I want, regardless of how fast everything around me is moving. This last one is something I think every entrepreneur needs, and most people struggle with, especially if they don't have ADHD. It's being highly adaptable, the ability to pivot your business the instant an unexpected shift happens in the market, to realize and say that this doesn't look like it's going to work in the next 3 years. We need to make changes right now. We're always looking for the next thing. And yes, sometimes that can be a negative also. There have been seasons where that hunger to look for the next thing actually pulled me away from something that was actually working. I can admit that. But when you actually challenge that pattern instead of fighting it, it becomes your biggest superpower. Because while everyone else is insisting on staying the course when they already know it's not working anymore, they feel insecure about the pivot, feeling like it means they're failing. We've already moved. We're already 20 steps ahead because we love being adaptable. We love pivoting into a new direction, and we never feel the need to force ourselves to stay somewhere that isn't working anymore. And that's exactly why at 20 years old, I was running a business, growing a business, making multiple six figures. And just 2 years ago, I realized that business wasn't going where I needed to go, especially with AI being introduced. So look, I pivoted. I built a business online, and now I make multiple six figures every single year while working way less than I ever expected. But this would have never happened had I not been bold enough to say it's time to pivot and have that ADHD pushing me to do it anyways. We've all seen that one person who refuses to go in a new direction, refuses to see what's right in front of them because of fear, because of doubt, because they felt safe and comfortable. For us, comfort looks like change sometimes. That's exactly why someone's business can make $100,000 one month, then completely fall apart the next. They saw the problem and they refused to adapt. Now, here's how to actually use these benefits in your business. First, you need to decide what has to stay exactly the same in your business for it to stay healthy and keep growing. For me, that's recording at least 1 or 2 videos a week and posting it on YouTube. Then you want to write down what part of your business is actually allowed to change. It may actually be even beneficial if it changes consistently. For me, that's the topic. I don't have to sit here every week and give you 10 ways to make $1 million. That would bore me to death. I give myself the freedom to change the topic consistently, as long as it still serves one goal that never moves for me, which is helping entrepreneurs become better people so they can build a business that actually aligns with them and who they are. The second is to be honest with yourself about how many breaks you need and how much you get distracted throughout the day. You don't have to force yourself to be that entrepreneur who sits for 10 hours straight and looks like they're making huge progress. Be real about what your schedule actually needs to look like for you to thrive. And the last one, I have to say this because I don't want you to think you're less than if this is a route for you. Seek a psychiatrist. Seek help if you need it. Some of us have ADHD that isn't dialed in correctly. And once it is, you can take full advantage of everything I just described. Mine wasn't dialed in for the longest. When I take what my doctor prescribes me, do I feel cured? No, but I actually feel more aligned. I feel more in control. And for some of us, that's exactly what we need. I can give you every benefit I just walked through, but if you still feel like you don't have a sense of control, get medical help. That is a win. It is not a loss. That is going to be your biggest advantage. This is a topic that I'm super passionate about, and I had to speak on it because I am a huge advocate for entrepreneurs and business owners just like me, people navigating growing a business, scaling a business, taking it to the next level while feeling like having ADHD is a negative, like it's something crippling them or slowing them down. This is your reminder that this is your biggest advantage. I hope this helped. Drop a comment. I read every single one of them, and I'll see you soon.